I'm so sorry. There was, I think, a glitch. The voice was not coming. What we are doing today is how to know about the past life. That's what we're going to explore into in this session. What is past life that we have seen, that we have understood, that we have been delving into and understanding and knowing to a large extent? This has been almost like proven by many of the researchers that there is a solid evidence that past life exists. But the big question is, can we get into that? Can we bring that memory? Can we understand? Can we recall the past life of ours? We are going to talk about few of the processes which have been used by the researchers, which have been used by many of the practitioners in the domain of past life. All these processes we are going to understand, we are going to delve into, and also one of the most important, one of the most powerful practices which has been there from ancient ages, from ancient time, and that wisdom also we're going to look at in this session. So let's get in and understand what are these processes which can give us some kind of clue and cue how to remember past life. Let's get in there. Now, when we are talking about past life existence, few of the cases already have been so much talked about that they have been researched and gone into depth. And each of these cases, by some means, we have come to know about those cases. We have understood those cases. I trust my voice is coming across now. Voice is coming. Yeah. Just give me a quick response. Voice is coming. In case it still doesn't come, then let me know. I think it's now coming. Yeah. Thank you for your responses. Some of you have mentioned that no voice. Thanks for that. That feedback has helped me. Yeah. Thank you very much. So now we are looking at this aspect of how we can know about our own past life. So for that, let's, like a scientist, let's investigate into it. What exactly has happened in few of the cases? One of the case that in one of our earlier sessions we discussed is the case of Robert Snow, a police officer who was having that compelling aspect or internal drive to go there, but how actually it started. In a party where a doctor, a hypnotherapist, a past life regression therapist, actually was saying about past life, Robert Snow said, I don't trust in that. And for fun, he underwent that regression process. And that gave him so much of insight into the life of Carol Beckwith. And that's what that's what was the initiation. Then he had multiple dreams and all, which compelled him to also get more deeper into that, and which has been documented in the book also, looking for Carol Beckwith. So this is one aspect, the past life regression, and it's a therapy. Now there are many experts who are doing this. One of the most important, regarded, respected pioneer in this field of past life regression is Dr. Brian Weiss. Dr. Brian Weiss has written multiple books. Many of them are there, many masters, many lives. Only Love is Real, Miracle Happens, and there is a list of books. So many messages from the masters, and maybe more than 10-15 books he had authored, all of them giving case studies. More than 4,000, I think, about few thousand cases he has already documented, and those cases have been mentioned there. What exactly happens in past life regression is a therapist would take you through a process of hypnosis. This is typically a hypnosis, hypnotic trance through which you go through. Then through those suggestions, you are allowed to get into the process of past life. You slowly drift into a past life memory, and that's how they do it. Then they start recording each of the thing that that particular client of theirs, he or she speaks. As she speaks, they start documenting it and then checking it with certain evidence if it is a possibility. And this is one of the most used mechanisms. But the problem here is many of these cases cannot be checked. So there are some issues with the scientists that yes, they are saying that, but what is the evidence? But nevertheless, this is a very powerful therapy. At least people who undergo this process, they can have clear idea about something of the past. They see as a vision in their mind. And that's past life regression. But past life regression is something which was there from ancient times. Typically, if you go to Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Prati Prasava, one of the term which is mentioned there, where it is mentioned that through a process you can go back to your pre-birth time and you get into other births. So it's been mentioned there as well, how you relax your mind and get deeper and to the past lives. We'll also talk about the most important practices which all of us we can start practicing in the last one, and which again goes back to the ancient wisdom of India. So we'll talk about that as we come to the last one. So first, past life regression. Many therapists, and both in West and in India, you'll find so many of them are there who are doing past life regression processes, and this is therapeutic. Many people who go through past life regression, once they find out their past life memory and for the reason which they are suffering in the present birth, that relieves them off. So that's one of the therapy which is being used. So whether it is true or false is a different thing, but going through that therapy helps many people to come out of their trauma or difficulty or challenges or different blocks in their life. So this is one of the most used mechanism, past life regression process. The second one is Deja Vu. Deja Vu is a concept wherein you suddenly start thinking that this I have already experienced before. Let's say somebody you see, you are totally perplexed. I do not know for what reason this person seems to be so familiar to me, as if I know him for years. Does it happen? It happens with many of us. Sometimes you visit a place, it feels like as if I have come to this place earlier. Similar is the case which happened, if you recall in one of our past sessions, we mentioned about Dr. Norman Shelley. Dr. Norman Shelley is actually one of the most regarded doctors and scientists in the domain of pain management. In 1972, in a conference, when Dr. William Kroger, another speaker in the conference, uttered the word John Elliotson. The moment he said John Elliotson, it was like something happened to Dr. Shelley. He was as if something has changed inside him. Instantaneously, he said, "Oh my God, that's me." This is Deja Vu. The moment that name occurred, immediately something changed, as if it was so familiar and he is that. That's Deja Vu. This also happens with many people. Suddenly they see something, they are completely puzzled why it seems so familiar to me, as if I know this person, as if I have come to this place earlier, as if this incident happened to me in some time in the past. Deja vu is something which also gives us clue. As in this case, he investigated into that, and he then found out Dr. John Elliotson was a doctor in UK again in the past century. He was also conducting research on pain management, and he was also doing many things in that domain. And this person who had never heard about this name or never had any kind of encounter, understanding, he was thinking, oh my God, that's me. And later on, if you can see, there are similarities in face and similarities in certain things. When he narrated some of the things that he did in the past life and they went and checked, so many things could be found out and could be established. So deja vu is one more thing. What do we do? Whenever there is a deja vu that occurs, many of us, we would have deja vu. And many of us, we just leave it at there. You say, oh, it seems so familiar. Okay, that's it. But if there is a deja vu, something comes to your mind and you are completely thoroughly shaken by that unusual feeling in you, the best thing that you can do is go for an analysis. Go for a deja vu analysis. Maybe you calm, the best thing they say, relax your mind and start looking at the same event, same person. Where have you seen that person? What happened? How that person's memory or how that person's face or something was feeling so familiar? Can you find that out? Is there any other cue that was there along with that? So these are the things which people suggest, experts suggest. If there is a deja vu, don't leave it at there. Start documenting it. Write that down. Find out what else such similar cases has happened in your life which takes you to such kind of feelings. Start documenting all, and slowly you can connect the dots. Maybe you see somebody and you feel very much like a deja vu. Then you saw a place, you are feeling like that. You saw some kind of artifact, some kind of a picture or something kind of a sculpture, then you are also feeling as if you're there. If such things are happening in your life, take note of them, document them, do some analysis. Maybe you can get some clue out there. Yeah. Is it seeming interesting and you are excited to know more about these things? Just mention there. Interesting and excited. Are you finding some two things we have already discussed as of now? One, the past life regression therapy. Normally these are done by therapists who are expert in the domain of hypnosis. They take you through a hypnotic trance, and wherein you are given some suggestion to go back in the memory lane and you go back to the past life, giving some input which are documented. Even most of the people, they recall the memory when they were in hypnotic trance about the past life, and that relieves him of many of the challenges of life. So that's one. Second, we talked about the deja vu process, where people have deja vu. That means they see something, it seems so familiar to them, as if they know that person or know that place, know that street, as if they know where to go to find that particular house or a location. All this many times happen. Take note of them. Have some kind of analysis that would help you get to the root of why that deja vu happened. Now these are the two we discussed. Yeah, interesting and excited. Great. Lovely. Now moving on further is dreams. Few of the cases that we already discussed in the earlier few sessions, few live sessions and discussions. One was the Purnima Ekanayaka case of Sri Lanka, who is a girl, and she said that he was killed as a man in the previous life, and it was so compelling for her to see the dreams and also spontaneous thoughts, spontaneous memory. She was knowing that, yes, I am that, I am not, as if body was giving her that kind of a sense, I am that man, having those pictures in her mind in dreams as well as in spontaneous time, normal time, wakeful time. Same happened with James Leninger, a small kid in the US who started talking about a pilot in the past life and who died in a battle when his airplane crashed. And he kept saying that I am James the Third, because his past life was James Houston, who was the pilot, and also his father was James. So he said, I'm the third James. So it was so compelling, and it's so scary for the parents. Then they started consulting therapists and experts in the domain of past life. And Jim Tucker, the person who investigated in the case, who was head of or director of the DOPS division of perceptual studies in University of Virginia, and then they finally concluded that this cannot be explained in any other way than past life. So James Leninger case, again, dream and spontaneous memory. He was drawing pictures of plane, location, maps, astonishing. Map of Japan and that location where the plane crashed. It was so accurate by a kid of 2-3 years old. So these were cases, and the same also happened with the case of Shanti Devi, who was in India to 1925 she was born. By the time she was 9 years old, 26 he was born, and by 1935 she was almost like crazy that I am not, this is not my home is in Mathura. She was speaking a dialect of Mathura. Same was Purnima's case. She was speaking another language at the age of very early age. So these are evidences, and how this was happening through dreams. They were getting a lot of input, and also through spontaneous memory. Some of the memory system, as if in the wakeful state, they were feeling like, oh, I'm that, not this So this is what was happening. She was constantly saying, I am Lugdi Devi. And this is probably the longest kind of research happened on the Shanti Devi case, right? From 1935 till she died in sometimes in late 1980s. Numerous kind of research happened by many experts. And again, there was no other way they could have understood this complex thing than past life memory. So these were few things which are again spontaneous memory and dreams. How can we do or know something about them? There is a process called lucid dreaming and dream analysis. This can be done by many of us. In fact, just you need to have a diary or what we call a journal, dream journal. And in the dream journal, you just need to write down the recurring dreams. And lucid dreaming actually having two components. One component is you know that you are dreaming. When you are sleeping and dreaming, you are clear, you are aware that you are dreaming. So lucid dreaming is you know that you are dreaming, that's one. The second aspect of it is you also can intervene in the dream. That means if you want to change a little, there is a nightmare, somebody is attacking you, you want to change, somebody is coming to help you, that happens. But most of the lucid dreamers, they allow spontaneously it is happening and they are aware of it, and they also grasp a lot of information from their dreams. Maybe in some of our future sessions we'll have a complete session on how to develop that proficiency for lucid dreaming. Few of the quick tips you can take. One, documenting. Two, in the night when you are going to bed, you need to have some kind of a pledge, some kind of an affirmation. In Sanskrit, this is known as sankalpa. You take a sankalpa, an affirmation that I am sleeping and the entire dream world I would be aware of, I am aware of. I remain conscious in the dream state. So that dream is known to me as dream. In fact, there is a very interesting movie on lucid dreaming, Inception. If you've heard of this movie, it's about lucid dreaming. I think it's a very famous movie. It was one of the most popular movies in recent times, Inception. So again, it is about lucid dreaming where we intervene into our dream, get information from our dream, and know our past history to a large extent, because as they say, many of the researchers have put it, the dream is the most important window to peep into our past lives. Most of the things that we experience in our memory are our past life impressions. So probably if you are very aware in the dream state, we would grasp it and have some clue about our past lives. That can also help us overcome many of the present challenges that we are undergoing and having. So again, this is another very, very important aspect of how to get into our past lives. Now coming to few of the very interesting processes that are being followed. One is, if you heard about this, Akashic records. Akashic records actually is a term followed and developed by the Theosophical Society. The Theosophians, they are more into this. Akashic record, as they term it, is a cloud of information already available about every soul. Every soul has a set of information about their past lives, and this is already present in some form somewhere. And experts who are having that practice, who are having that proficiency, can connect to the Akashic records. So that's one which mostly the Theosophians, they follow. And much before that, this came to this Akasha. In fact, they use the word Akasha, space, and the clouds of information which are there, and those information they can tap to and understand the past life memories and past life records of different souls. But much before that, Bhrigu Samhita is one of the texts where Maharshi Bhrigu, who had thousands, in fact every being who had taken birth on this, for them there is a record. By following that process, it's a process, by following that process, you can figure out many details about that, past lives and even the future. It talks about both way. So Vrigu Samhita, which is again another ancient text that talks about it. Again, these are texts, philosophies, hypotheses that we can take that they work. Although they are very secret kind of technique, we still do not know the original Vrigu Samhita texts, where are they and how they are being used. But some people say they have access to that and it works like magic for many. So these are two which are very, very important. But more than these, I have the most important one to share with you now. The most important aspect of how we can get into the past life through some simpler processes which everyone can do. And when we say past life, whether we recall it or not recall it, that's a different story. But when we know about the impressions that have been imprinted in us through the past life processes, that itself can relieve us. In fact, in Bhagavad Gita, that's what Sri Krishna is saying, that you need to know your internal impressions. By knowing that, you are coming out of many of your karma. You can immediately relieve yourself of those challenges. And now we will talk about another very, very important text. It's the Patanjali Yoga Sutra of Maharshi Patanjali, where it's been talked about. I'll just give a quick brief about the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, how it's been organized. The Patanjali Yoga Sutra has got 4 parts. I'm not going to more details about that. It has got aphorisms. Aphorisms means very cryptic texts. Sutras are aphorisms, very cryptic texts. So in those texts, they are packed, power-packed texts, power-packed sentences, you can say. And in that sentence, we need to find out the cryptic knowledge within that. So there are 4 parts of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. First part is known as Samadhi Pada. Pada is every part. Samadhi Pada. Then it is Sadhana Pada. If you're a little familiar with Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you will find that you would know that there are 8 limbs of yoga. They call it Ashtanga Yoga. So in the Ashtanga Yoga Sutra or yoga, they talk about 8 different aspects. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana and Samadhi. So first it is talking about the Samadhi Pada, the very essence of the entire text is being talked about there. Why one should go to Samadhi, what is the essential aspect of it. Then it talks about second part, Sadhana Pada. That means how you can go in for that, how you can practice it. Sadhana, how do you do the sadhana? In the Sadhana Pada, you'll find the first 5 limbs of yoga, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama and Pratyahara. Those are mentioned in the Sadhana Pada. When I first read Patanjali Yoga Sutra, I was a little confused. Where are the other 3? There are 8 limbs I heard, but where are the other 3? The other 3 come next. In the Vibhuti Pada, Vibhuti is, it's about supernatural powers, grace, blessings of the universe, incredible powers. Vibhuti, grace, some power, some supernatural powers that you get. So those powers are mentioned in the third pada, third part. And finally, of course, it is Kaivalya Pada, the final actualization, nirvana. You get to Kaivalya. So in third pada, Vibhuti Pada, this concept is mentioned. In fact, these are all supernatural powers. So the supernatural powers are mentioned in Vibhuti Pada. In the 18th aphorism of Patanjali Yoga Sutra of Vibhuti Pada, it talks about something called samyama of the impressions. Samyama is the combination of dharana, dhyana and samadhi. I am not going into detail of this, but it is about concentration, attention of something, attention, our awareness and absorption, integration. When we are integrated into something, it is called samadhi. So when all these things, attention, awareness and absorption, they combine and we focus on one thing, that's called samyama of one point. So in 18th sutra of Vibhuti Pada, it's mentioned that when you have samyama, on past impression, you get to your past life. Meaning, every past life memory has an impression through our traits, through our emotionality, through many things inside, through our physical body. The moment we put our samyama, that means our complete attention to that, complete awareness to that, we absorb into it, we completely integrate with it, we get the sense that there is a past life and these are the stories. Simpler way, how do you do it? You just need to do it by looking at your exceptional emotionalities. That means, let's say you are very angry with certain kind of behavior. You are very sad when something happens. Something makes you terribly scared. All these things you just need to keep a note of. Then you need to meditate upon that. When we say meditate upon that, first you take your attention to that. Know that. And meditation, whenever we are talking about attention, we have already completed the first 5 padas of, or first 5 angas of Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Pratyahara means we are not having any problem. We are withdrawn from the exteriority. We have withdrawn our emotionality and withdrawn our senses from outside. We are inward now. So we will not be disturbed when we are putting our attention on our behavior, on our emotion. We are easily just observing them, witnessing them unconditionally. Then we are feeling them unconditionally. It may sound little paradoxical. Feeling them unconditionally, we are just flowing through them. And then we get integrated into them, where we get cues, clues and some signals of past life memory. This may take a long time. Initially you may have very kind of thin memories and very faint kind of thing. They may not be memory at all, but you will get insight. You will get a lot of insightful intuitions, as if somebody is guiding you through that process. But this needs practice, a lot of practice. This is one of the most important practices which can take you through to your past life memory. And many of people who are going through this, meditating upon their impressions. Anything that has happened in the past has an impression. Whether you take case of the boy, James Leninger, or you take case of Purnima or Shanti Devi, there were a lot of impressions. Their behavior, their internal feeling. Those impressions also we do have. We have to just pay attention to those impressions. We also have to look at our dreams, which are recurring in nature. We can also look at our deja vu, and if you feel like, you can also go for a therapist who can do past life regression and find it out for you, how and where you were there in the past lives. So these are the few things I thought I'll share with you. And before we conclude, few of the things I would also like to know from your end. We have been going through these sessions, understanding about few of the aspects of beyond body and mind. This week was beyond body and mind, our life and death, our internal aspects of life, our soul, the travel of the soul through lives. That's what we learnt and understood through some scientific processes, going to some ancient wisdom texts and very many other inputs from very, very different cultures. So all this, how was it? Can you just give me some kind of feedback? How did you like this? Did you get some insightful, something that you liked and enjoyed? In 1 or 2 words, if you can put it in the comment box, that would be very handy for me. And as we are coming to next sessions in future, also you can help me, which should be the topics. You can write it later on under the comments. Which are the areas, topics that you'd like to know more and more about? And there are many other topics, like in the yogic tradition, if you have heard about the Kundalini Yoga, again, few of the energy nodes, they can help you go to the past life as well. Insightful. Yeah, there is a heartfulness process. Yeah, Daji, who has been doing it, extraordinary process. So, yeah, there are many processes which can help you delve into the realm of love. Let me tell you, you can only access to those memories when you are responsible and you are elevating your soul and consciousness beyond certain points, beyond certain level, beyond certain threshold. And that comes when we are absolutely in the state of joy, bliss, love, compassion, kindness, forgiveness. That means the outer disturbing emotions are not troubling us. In the Bhagavad Gita also, Sri Krishna is saying, I know about all my past lives and births, but you do not know. The reason is I am in the Krishna consciousness. In fact, the entire Bhagavad Gita is talking about a consciousness of Sri Krishna. In one of the verses, in fact, he's saying it's not about my body. Abhajananti ma mudhanam manusim tanuma sritam. The people who are fools, Mudha is actually not idiots. Mudha is ignorant. So people who are ignorant, they feel I'm a body, mind. But in essence, I am that elevated consciousness. Avajananti ma mudhanam manusim tanuma sritam param bhavo ajananto mama bhuta maheswara. He's talking about his bhuta, his consciousness is what is godly consciousness. The moment we elevate our consciousness, we get to those extraordinary aspects of life, going beyond the threshold of body and mind, limitations that we feel we are in. That prison is broken through the moment we push our consciousness beyond that threshold. So that's what I thought I would share with you. What are the risks involved in the past life? What are those risks involved in the past life? Essentially, the risk involved is liberation. It's not any risk as such. Unless somebody is cheating you, unless somebody is taking you for a ride and making you fool, or some kind of cheating happening out somewhere there. Otherwise, if you are doing through pure processes, the pure processes, you are just getting into that realm of trust, surrender, love, compassion, kindness. When we subside our disturbing elements around, we naturally get an access to our deeper memory systems, going into the Sukshma Sarira. All these impressions are in the Sukshma Sarira. That Sukshma Sarira, that energy consciousness which is flowing through us, there all the impressions are there. In order to get there, in order to go in out there, we need that kind of calmness, that kind of divinity within me. The divine spark is within every one of us. Recognition and expression of that divine qualities can help us move through that space, move through that veil, and to see the things beyond that. So that's what is to be done. So not such many risks are there. It's more of awareness. It's more of enlightenment, more of receiving those signals which are otherwise being blocked because of the exterior chaos and complexities. So I thought we had a wonderful period so far, and enjoyed your presence, your responses, your fantastic feedback that you have been giving all through. And that's what I thought would be my takeaway through these sessions. Again, in future, we'll be coming out with more such sessions, more videos, more interesting topics. And please suggest me few of the topics. I can see anger management. I can also see we'll come up with anger management for sure. Any other, please write down in the comments below those videos, so that those suggestions definitely I'll look into, and we will create videos on that which can be helpful for you and for many others who would be having those benefits through these videos. And again, thank you very much. These are things which I have been taking. It's not many of them are actually, I'm not creating any of them. Taking from scientific research, taking from ancient philosophies, from our wisdom of the seers and sages. For thousands of years they are there. So studying them itself is such an elevating feeling, and maybe you are the reason for why I'm doing it. It's again that's such a good feeling, and my sincere gratitude to you all for that as well. So thank you very much, and let's connect again as I'll announce the next session whenever it is coming next. Please do let me know through comments, through your feedback, and that will be very helpful. And in case you have not subscribed as of now, please do subscribe, and liking the session, liking this video would help us. If you like the content, if you really loved it, please do like the session in the video below. There is a like button. Please click on that, which will help the algorithm to help it reach out to larger audience. Also, if you can share it, you are free to share it, so that more and more people also come to know about this wonderful, fascinating field of study. Thank you very much. May God bless all of us. Take care. Look forward to see you again in a upcoming session soon. Thank you and God bless.